What's going on, everyone? So, of course, there is a lot of talk of Russell Westbrook potentially being traded from the Los Angeles Lakers to some other team. I mean, the writing's been on the wall for some time. There were even reports that Russ is open to a trade, although he's not forcing the issue. If he has to ride it out for a year with the Lakers, he'll ride it out. But if he can be traded elsewhere, he'll be traded elsewhere. The Lakers, they're not going to trade him just to trade him. They're going to try to find the right deal. And if a right deal is involved, then Russell Westbrook will likely be gone, whether it's Utah, the Pacers deal, one of the several deals that are reported to be out there. Russ is very likely gone if that's the case. And not just that, but he even got a new agent in Schwartz, who is known for getting the max money for players during a buyout. And so if Russ is to be traded to, say, a Utah, then they're going to buy him out and then he's going to go elsewhere. So he's going to want to capitalize on the most money possible for that kind of thing. Well, we did get another piece of information that may signal that Russell Westbrook trade is coming. And that is this. So per E.B. Solomon, of the Wall Street Journal, the former NBA MVP has listed his Brentwood mansion for sale at a cost of $29.995 million, so just under $30 million. Citing the official listing on Zillow, Solomon notes that the house is 13,500 square feet and contains 6 bedrooms, a movie theater, bar, wine room, and gym. Westbrook originally bought the house in 2018 for $19.75 million. So Russell Westbrook has listed his home that he has in LA for $30 million. He bought the house in 2018 for just under $20 million. So he's going to make a profit on it. So I don't want to immediately jump to the conclusion that this means Russ is gone, like a trade is coming, that kind of thing. I mean, this is a sign in the positive direction. And like I've always said, when you see multiple things sort of lining up, there's usually a tell there. But here's the thing too. He might, want to sell that house. He bought the house in 2018, so before he ever went to the Lakers. So maybe he's just looking at it as like, I'll make a cool $10 million off of the sale of this house, and I could just use that to go buy another house, something along those lines. Like, this could just be like, hey, I might not get more money for this house than I would right now. Let me do this. The other thing is, too, is houses take time to sell, right? And so if Russ stays with the Lakers, say, for another year, it might be that year before this house actually sells. Lakers probably aren't re-signing Russ. Like, I just don't see that happening unless Russ, like if the Lakers somehow turn it around, right? Russ is a perfect fit, which I don't think is going to happen. But let's say even if he's not a perfect fit, but let's say he really works and like the Lakers are really good. Let's say the Lakers make it to the Western Finals, or let's say they make it to the NBA Finals, or they win a championship this year. Then maybe the Lakers look at him and go, hey, maybe we could sign him for, $15 million, something like that, especially if you don't get a Kyrie or somebody that, is of a higher caliber. If Russ is able to work, maybe the Lakers keep him on a smaller deal. That could be a possibility. I don't think that's going to happen because it would take a lot of dominoes to kind of fall in place and a lot of things to go right for that to be the case. But you never know. I mean, the story we all wanted when Russ first went to the Lakers was Russell Westbrook going home and winning a championship with the Lakers. We all wanted it. We all knew it wasn't going to be a good fit. We all had our concerns and our questions, but that's the story we wanted to talk about. That was the story we wanted to tell. Dude, Russ with the Lakers, him, LeBron, and Davis were able to lead the team to a championship. What a great story. What a great moment for Russ and the league and this, that, and the other. And unfortunately, it was the total opposite, right? It was a complete disaster. Russ didn't fit. Russ didn't really work. But maybe Darvin Ham could get the most out of him. Maybe that's just me trying to look at the glass half full rather than half empty. I'm trying to be optimistic, because I want the Lakers to be good. I do like this team. I think this team is very comparable to the 2020 championship team. You got a lot of guys that could be great defensively. We weren't a great three-point shooting team that year, but we had a couple guys that could knock down the three ball just like this team. The only difference is we didn't have a guy like Russell Westbrook. If Russ can figure it out and Darvin Ham can make him effective, I really think Russ could be a huge factor on this team. But, of course, the Lakers, if they can find a proper deal, they're going to trade him. Like, if the Jazz say, hey, we'll take one first for, you take these 3 guys and we'll take Russ, I think the Lakers move Russ. But they're not going to just move him just to move him. So don't expect that a trade has to happen or that it will happen. I think it's likely, especially because the Jazz have to move off of guys. But I don't think it's something that has to happen if you're the Lakers. I think you're almost in a better spot to do no deal rather than a bad deal and just try to figure it out. If it doesn't work, yeah, you kind of wasted a year, but, maybe a Kyrie comes, something like that, and kind of changes the tides of this Lakers team. You never really know. But ultimately, I do think that this is something that is at least interesting and at least worth a discussion. Obviously, it's right in the middle of all the trade talks and stuff like that, so that's what makes it even more intriguing, is that, you have all these talks, all this, Russ going this place and the other, Russ is going to the Jazz, and then you see Russ is in Utah for 2 weeks. Granted, he's, at Lake Havasu or whatever, and he's just kind of living his best life, so, that could have been nothing too, but again, when you start seeing these pieces line up, he's in Utah for X amount of time. He's he signs a new agent that is known for buyouts. And now he's selling his home. All of those things, it could just be circumstances. It could just be several things. It could just be that Russ knows at some point I am leaving. Whether it's via trade now or it's I ride this season out and I go elsewhere next season. Either way, very likely the possibility of Russ being on this team beyond this season is extremely low. I just don't see Russ getting another chance with the Lakers unless things just go incredibly well this year. Like I said, if Darvin Ham can figure it out with Russ, get Russ to be extremely effective. Look, Russ averaged 18, 7, and 7. And he averaged it roughly at his rate that he usually scores at. But the problem was he wasn't effective. There's a difference between being effective and efficient and then just being the guy that you are, right? And that's kind of what it was. When we saw Russ be that guy when Davis and LeBron weren't in the game, he had that one game where he was effective. He put up 30, 14, and 15. But it wasn't just that he put up a great stat line. It was that he was effective in that game and almost single-handedly helped the Lakers win that game. If he could get to that, and I'm not saying he has to put up 30, 14, and 15, but I'm saying if he could be 18, 7, and 7 or 15, 5, and 5, night in and night out effectively, when LeBron isn't in the game, he's the guy with the ball, he's going out, he's getting you 15 points on 46% shooting, he's getting some quality assists, some quality rebounds, getting some solid defensive plays, which Darvin Ham really wants him to buy in defensively. So if he could just be a 15, 5, and 5 guy, that would be extraordinary for the Lakers in an effective manner. That is the key, being effective and being efficient. If they can make that happen, then I think the Lakers could be in a really good position. But it's just interesting that this is happening. It's interesting that he's putting the house up for sale. Like I said, it might just be, look, I'm going to make $10 million after closing costs and everything like that on this home. Why not? If I do stay here longer, I can always just go buy a new house. Otherwise, very likely I'm gone within the next year. It's going to take time to sell the house anyway. So whatever ends up happening, and we'll let that be gone. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of this? Do you think this is a telling sign? Do you think it's nothing? Do you think, he's going to be off the team in a year anyway, so it makes sense he'd put the house up now, and then, very likely takes a year for the house to sell. I do. I think that this could be something interesting, but I don't want to put too much investment into that. I don't want to, get people's hopes up a deal is coming. This could just be not. Deal is on the table. I do think the Lakers pull the trigger on that deal. It's just finding that right deal and which team blinks first. I wouldn't be shocked if a team that hasn't even been mentioned or reported just comes out of the woodworks to acquire Russ, because just like Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs, right? That wasn't nobody really saw that coming. They were mentioned a month earlier as a possible destination, but that was it. Knicks, right? That was what all of this was. And then, you saw the Cavs just come out of nowhere and boom, they were able to snatch up Donovan Mitchell. We may see the same thing with Russ, but not because of Russ, just a team come in and say, hey, I'll take the 27th pick. We're not a contending team. Maybe a team like Detroit. They're we could move a couple guys, like, send it to them, take Russ, buy him out, and then go and, do something like that. Or maybe even the Spurs. Maybe Pop's like, hey, look, we're tanking anyway. Let's just embrace the tank. We'll take a 27th pick, just to get a free pick. You might see a team that just says, we'll take what the Lakers are willing to offer because we're not going anywhere anyway, right? And like, maybe these pieces aren't that good, Like, I mean, a lot of people really like the Spurs players, right? But like, I could see the Spurs, like Pop, even though I know he's not big on trading with the Lakers. I know he's said in the past, like, I won't trade with the Lakers, but he's not stupid. Like, if he can get free assets, he'd probably do that. And he hasn't been in this position in like 20 years where, like, he's going and tanking purposely to try to go. He's usually one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team, year in and year out. And he's been in this downslope. So you might look at it as like, let me put this team in a position for the future, whether I'm here or not come that time. Let me just go get this asset because it might be a good asset. Like, we don't need Podol and Richardson and McDermott, something like that. Like, let's just move off of these guys, embrace the tank. We'll buy out Russ, and we get a free pick or a first and a second out of it. Like, why not? Maybe that's something that could end up happening. But anyway, again, I don't want to get people's hopes up. I just think that this was an interesting point of discussion. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.